Welcome to your show, The Mob. Let your voice be heard, baby. How you guys doing? How you guys doing? Welcome, welcome, welcome. It is so good to be with you guys, to be back here. Oh my God, I love it. Still do the same thing, you know. It's so good to be back at the show, The Mob. Cadriana, how you doing? We have a very special guest today for you guys tonight. You know, you might be watching this nighttime, daytime. You know, nowadays it's the way it works. So, you know, uh, Toni McFadden. Did I say it right?
Yes.
Oh! I've been practicing that the whole week. Yeah, I could you not. I could you not. Listen, Spanish is very different when it comes to pronunciation, you know, and we tend
Hmm.
to do pronunciation on everything in English that sounds like Spanish, you know. It's crazy. Yeah, you go to Puerto Rico and we you know our language, half of it it's English, and it's bad English,
Hmm.
like hot dog or hamburger. You know. Yeah.
So Tony's our special guest here, and we invited her onto the mob. As you know, we always invite people who are active in the work that they're advocating for. It's just super important. We can't just talk about it. We got to do something about it, right? So Tony here, she is a pro-life activist. She's also the Minority Outreach and Healthy Relationships Director for Students for Life of America. And, we're going to have her here to talk a little bit about, what pro life is, what does that, entail, what kind of work she does as an activist, and hopefully you're encouraged to be active in your beliefs as well. So, Tony, thank you for being here. And,
Thank you for having me.
can you explain to us what it is that those titles mean? What it is that you do as for
Hmm.
your work?
Yeah, I'm not very into titles, but it
Yeah.
helps people explain what you do. But the heart of the pro-life movement is to be a voice for the voiceless. It is to be a voice for those who cannot speak out for themselves, and literally the unborn, preborn babies cannot speak out for themselves. And because of the death rate of abortion, I believe, is the number one issue in America, because if our most vulnerable are being do not have a right to live, it affects what's happening outside of the womb as well. And I know this is a hot debate,
Yeah.
um, and people have different views about it. But it's been a journey for me to get to where I am, where I believe that I am fighting the most important cause that we could fight for. And as an African American, the number one killer in the Black community is abortion.
Really?
Planned Parenthood kills in 2 weeks what took the KKK 1 century to kill. And they've convinced Black women that aborting our own children is normal.
Wow.
And I'm here to bring to light and expose the lies of abortion. I know some people may not agree with me with that, but I've walked through an abortion myself as a teenager and believed the lies and believed all the things just because I wanted to cover up my irresponsibilities.
Wow.
And I've seen the effects of that. And I'm very vulnerable with my story. I share my story all the time. I am also a Christian, and so I know my past does not dictate my future or define who I am currently.
That's right.
But that is another drive behind why I do what I do. So
Okay.
that's just like a little
Amazing.
piece.
Let me ask you something. So you went through that experience, Tony?
Yes.
Wow.
Hmm.
Okay. You know, because some people out there, you know, normally people, the way it works on society, you know, I love that you say, you know, I'm a Christian, you know, you put it out there. Also, I am, you know what
Hmm.
I mean? And
Hmm.
sometimes, you know, it's difficult for people to just, you know, adapt to our way of thinking in Christianity.
Hmm.
If I'm not
Right.
mistaken, Paul says, you know, the way we believe, it looks crazy for them, you know.
Mhm.
It's something they looked at us like we are crazy when we say, there's no need for killing of babies, and then out there say, well, the population is growing and we don't have this and we don't have that, and they'll come with these methods. There for us, it's not a method, and you've
Mhm.
been through this experience,
Right.
so obviously. You can talk about this.
Mhm.
Yes, yes.
Mhm.
I
And I would even mention that I do a lot of activism in Washington, D.C. I've done rallies, I've gone to the women's marches and things like that. And we also have groups called Secular for Life or Atheist for Life. So you don't even necessarily have to have a faith background. There are just people who know it's wrong to kill innocent people, whether they're inside the womb or outside of the womb. And so I think a majority of pro life activists are probably Christians because we know that it's wrong to take innocent life. But I've been alongside those who are atheists, and I've been alongside those who are just have no faith background at all, or just no morally do not believe it is right to
actually
hurt those who are the weak.
Actually, we have this conversation the other day between a group of leaders in this community, and we were just talking about that. I don't need to bring my faith in order to tell you what's right and wrong. To be honest with you, just
Mhm.
what you said. I don't
Mhm.
have to bring my faith
Mhm.
in order to prove, to you that the actions that we take in towards innocent people, it's not right. Do you understand?
Right.
And this, I love the fact that you said right now we have an ATS group, we have this group, we have this group, because at the end, uh, faith is very important. But
Mhm.
you know what I mean? It's like, and I'm gonna say it like that.
Mhm.
You don't need to be a Christian to understand that killing innocent life, it's not the way to go.
Yeah.
Mhm. And
It's my
science is
opinion
on our
too.
side.
Excuse me.
Yeah. I said, and science is on our side.
All the
Science does
time,
not contradict God. I
all the
mean,
time,
at conception,
and
when the sperm meets the egg, that child has its own DNA
okay.
that will never be created again.
Uh huh.
It's their own DNA, and that is the blueprint of their entire life. How tall they're going to be, their hair color, their skin tone, all of that right at conception.
Actually, yes.
So,
Go ahead.
oh, yeah. So when people say, oh, it's just a bunch of cells, it's just a blob of tissue, that's wrong. And science has, even abortionists have said life begins at conception. They just don't care.
Yeah.
They
Yeah,
don't care.
yeah. We yesterday we had a very interesting teachings on Tuesdays. We do teachings. It's a program. It's called Creating Consciousness. It's between preaching, teaching, and but it have to do with the biblical aspect of everything. It's straight
Hmm.
Bible on Tuesdays. I will come here and just open the Bible and go over the Bible.
Right.
We was going over our sonship, our title of being sons, and yesterday I was teaching that some people might believe that when you become a Christian, it's the moment, or when you become saved. Let's put it like that. You become a saved
Hmm.
person the moment that you actually publicly acknowledge Jesus Christ, and you go and you say, well, I accept Jesus Christ as my Lord and Savior, and now you become a saved person, and now you are a son of God. No, I'm sorry. You are the son of God way before that. And I just yesterday bring so many scriptures that'll talk about that,
Hmm.
especially Hebrew 2:14 when he says, the sons of God have to participate from flesh and blood. You see, it'll give you the
Right.
title of son
Hmm.
even before you become flesh and blood. So
Right.
if you're telling me that something it's not alive in there, we are sons of God before everything else is manifested in flesh and blood. The word
Hmm.
says that we have been elected before the foundation of the world.
Right.
So
Right.
when you look at all these things, it's obvious that there's something alive in there. And I'm saying something alive just for the, for the
Yeah.
but we know what it is. There's a baby
Hmm.
alive. There is a creature alive
Right.
there that it's
Right.
coming out to do things that God intended for him to do.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
who are we? Like I love what you say, Tony, because she says my mistakes, and I think that's the key. That is the key right there.
Ownership.
People do mistakes, yeah, and then they want to erase it, and erase your mistake by killing somebody. It's a big deal
Mhm.
in my
Mhm.
view. In my
Yeah,
view.
it is a big deal, and and spiritually something I believe happens in a woman that she is not prepared for, because it is not normal to take the life of your own child. It is
Wow.
no matter how many euphemisms they try to use, like a woman's right to choose, health care for who? Not health care for that baby. And when she says my body, my choice,
So what happened with him?
because the baby resides there doesn't mean it's a part of your body, but it's not your body. You didn't
That's right.
suddenly become have 20 toes and fingers and two hearts, and that baby is separate from you, and that should be a safe haven.
I think
And
that's right too.
I just posted something about this. I said that the a baby in the womb, that should be the safest place
Yeah.
for a baby to be. But yet in our country, it is the most dangerous
Wow, I never
place to
saw it like
be.
that.
Yeah.
Amazing. I never saw that like that. The way you mention it right now, I didn't have that perspective. So
Mhm.
thank you.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a
Yeah.
I.
very good
Yeah.
perspective. It should be the safest place, and
Mhm.
right now it is the most
Yeah.
dangerous place for a kid. Wow.
So,
Mhm.
Tony, I wanted to ask you,
Yeah.
right, moving a little like into the political part. This is something that, as we've
Mhm.
been seeing the last couple years, has really been tearing apart the nation. And you have two very predominant halves of the nation, one pro-life,
Yeah.
one pro-choice.
Mhm.
Can you explain a little bit, in depth, your position as pro-life? Like specifically in regards to like the legality of abortion, whether we should abolish all abortion, the
Mhm.
use and accessibility of contraceptives as well, which I see something that's debated on a lot.
Right. For myself, my goal of working with Students for Life of America, our goal is, for those of you who do not know what Students for Life is, it is the biggest pro-life youth organization in America. We're all over every single state. We're raising up pro-life youth from middle school, high school through college, and educating them on what abortion is and activists.
Do
So, go ahead.
no
You
no
had a
no
question?
no. You go.
Okay. Okay. So, our job and what we want to do is not only make abortion unthinkable, but we want to abolish it. We want to make it illegal because it's never right, no matter the circumstance, to take the life of an innocent person. So I know politically, for myself personally, I am a one issue voter. If you're willing to say that abortion, which the other side says you can have abortion all the way up to 9 months for whatever reason, 9 months. I mean, most people, when we've done surveys, say there should be restrictions at least on abortion.
Mm,
But
mm.
we had a certain governor in New York City in 2019 that wrote a bill that said you can have an abortion all the way up to 9 months for whatever
Yeah,
reason.
you can. Yeah,
That's infanticide.
you can say it.
That's
Yeah.
barbaric.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can say
It's
it. We
barbaric.
talked about him basically like
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
he
It's
ruined the city, to be honest with you. That city, when he got that city was really good. Now, I'm gonna be honest, I'm a
mhm.
30 years member of New York. I was,
Mhm.
came from Puerto Rico, went to New York City, and I did most of my life there. My daughters, my sons, they grew up there and everything. And to be honest with you, now I really don't want to even go over there because
Mhm.
of the whole
Yeah.
changes and everything that they have done with that
Yeah.
city.
Leadership matters.
Yeah, yeah. Listen, in 4 years, that city became what it is today. And if they don't
Mhm.
get it together, it's gonna be
Right.
nothing left from that city. Sometimes,
Right.
we think that, oh my God, New York City and this and that. Listen, New York City, it's way behind. To be honest with you, right now we got
Hmm.
cities all over the place that are look way more technological, way more like everything to be out there. It's better than New York City. New York City still got the name, but I think the leadership
Yeah.
of New York City have neglected the
Hmm.
city, and because I've neglected the
Right.
city, this is what's going on. All these things go
Hmm.
into our cities, and then you have a lot of irresponsibility, and that
Right.
irresponsibility is going to show up, and it's showing up right now.
And they always have the highest rate of abortion. For Black women, in New York City for years, more Black women were aborting their babies
Wow.
than Black babies being
It's
born.
it's it's just, it's sad.
So to go from that political side, right now there's something called the Hyde Amendment, and the Hyde Amendment is what protects us as taxpayers for having to fund abortions. Now,
That
this has been a bipartisan thing for 40 plus years,
uh-huh.
that both sides of the aisle this has been in the budget. This is the first administration that does not have the Hyde Amendment in their budget, and they want us as taxpayers to fund abortion.
That is my
I'm
problem.
not, if you want to fund abortion because you're for it, then you pay for
That's
it.
why that's
I don't
exactly my
want my
problem, Tori.
money going towards that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't have no other issues when it comes to political this and that. I'm I am, because I pay attention to all of that. It's very important for us to our
Yeah.
community will be aware of what's going on. To be honest with you,
Yes.
but when it comes to that situation right there, I mean, I don't think it's right for everybody else. Listen, to pay for what you said in the beginning. Your mistake. That's your mistake. You deal
Hmm.
with
I,
that.
I don't even think
Why I
it's
have to
Hmm.
put my money into something that it's not productive? Why?
But I don't even think it's that. I think it just violates the actual principle of our Constitution. Taxation without representation. When half
Okay.
of
Exactly.
the country says we don't want this to even be legal, and you're going to use my
My
money to
money's yeah.
fund it, that's literally
Hmm.
taxing people without the representation that they're demanding. So I think that's a super violation.
Right.
And I'm not even
Hmm.
super pro life, but I think anybody can recognize how much of a violation of our like constitutional rights that is. You
You
know what
say
I
you're
mean?
not super pro life.
Right.
Yeah, I'm saying I don't I don't I mean I'm just saying I don't have like a
Hopefully, I could
super
change
hard
your mind.
stance. No, I 100% believe that
Shit.
abortion definitely isn't the way. And when it comes to the legal stuff is where me and I feel like a lot of people definitely in my generation, me being 22 turning 23 in a week, we struggle with
Hmm.
because I think especially within the last couple years, we're not finding that bipartisan agreement to like actually create productive changes for our communities. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? It's like they keep
Right.
going back and forth, but there's still so many people going through these situations. It's like we just want solutions that actually bring
Right.
change.
Yeah.
Well, here's some of the things that are not being told from the pro life side because we don't get the main stage like Planned Parenthood does because they have lobbyists, they have a bunch of money, they have people funding them. Pro life organizations are nonprofits. Our pregnancy resource centers don't have a lot of money. We're donor based, and but we outnumber the number of abortion clinics.
Yeah.
There's over 2,000 pregnancy resource centers with maternity homes. I hate when people say the pro life movement only cares about the baby being born and we don't care about anything else. That is a lie.
Yeah.
We're the ones who are providing the diapers, the formula, the all the things that a girl would need, the maternity homes. I have friends who have spaces in their house specifically if a girl is going through a difficult time or is going to get kicked out of her house for having her baby, whatever, to live with them until they get on their feet.
Huh.
But our stuff isn't out there and promoted the same way because we don't have a lot of funds like Planned Parenthood does. Um, the other thing is there are resource centers. I'm forgetting the name right now, but they offer the contraceptives, all
Oh.
the things except for abortion to
Yeah.
help a woman or a girl out. Again, that's not the popular thing, and they are not being promoted like Planned Parenthood. Also, I would say with the statistics of abortion, 90 90, maybe 98% of women who are having abortions is because it's an inconvenience. They were too young. They don't want the baby. 1% from rape,
Wow.
0.5% incest. And so a lot of people, the pro-choice side will bring up rape and incest to say that it's okay for all this, the 98% of women who are just having abortions because they just don't want the kid. And that's not okay with me either. But bringing up the what I say about the rape, obviously that is the most horrific act of violence on a woman that could possibly happen. I would never want any woman to go through this. In the United States, though, the rapist is never going to get the death penalty.
They they
Yeah.
they asked me,
They're
right?
not.
They I'm sorry
They
to cut you.
can't. It's not in the law to
Okay.
get the death penalty.
They
So why would we give? Why would we make the innocent child pay for the crime of its father? That man should get the full extent of the law. A lot of times, the woman, obviously, she needs help. She needs counseling. But what will happen most of the time is that it is another act of violence on another innocent person. And then she is having flashbacks because of the procedure that she's going to have to go through to even have the abortion after she's just been raped. That's not caring for her or loving her, I believe, in that situation. And lastly, I would say I have friends who have been conceived from rape,
yeah.
and I have a friend who is a mother from rape.
Oh,
And they do not like when people use their situation to push abortion
okay.
because they're, you know what I mean? This man that I know, his name is Ryan Bomberger. He's an amazing man. He says, I am not the residue of my father. I'm
Oh,
the resilience of my birth mother
okay.
because she chose to give him life and gave him up for an adoption. But does he not? I would never look at him and say, you don't deserve to be here because of the way you were conceived.
I mean,
Yeah.
that is a very touchy subject because this is one of the things that I get asked the most as a pastor. I said, as a pastor, I be honest with you, somebody comes and tell me something like that, I really will tell you, do that searching and talk to God, to our Father, because I have the same Father you have. Me being a pastor and you're not doesn't mean anything. We the same when it comes to our Father. We
Hmm.
brothers and sisters. That's just a
Right.
title here that I use to perform my abilities. But when it comes to our family, it's equality. We all equal, when it comes
Hmm.
to that relationship. And that's a relationship that I will say, it's a moment that I will say, listen, this is the moment to search for God and see what is it that He tells you, what is it that you feel in your heart, what is it that your feelings are in tune with the Word of God. Sometimes our feelings are not in tune with the Word of God, and that's when it
Yes,
comes to the little bit of a situation. And I think it's a very hard situation. Uh,
it is.
I can say I
Hmm.
could think because if I say, yeah, I kind of know, I'm sorry, but I don't like when people tell me, I've been through this. I can imagine. How can you imagine? How can you imagine? How can I imagine a woman being raped and being with a kid in his inside of her and bringing that baby? How can I imagine how she feels? I don't. I have no idea
Hmm.
how she's imagining
Right.
at all. So it's a
Right.
moment where I will say, listen, this is the moment to search. I search you, and your decision, whatever
Hmm.
decision you make, nobody's gonna hold that against you because and I always say it. I think there's no reason for you to kill a baby. But that's that moment right there stopped me, and I said, you know what? Maybe in my own understanding, for me, there's no reason. But whatever she decides to do, listen, I don't know. I don't know what she's going through. I don't know what she's feeling.
Yeah, I know
I
that.
shouldn't be
I know
judging
that's
her.
such a horrific thing to go through. But like I said, it still doesn't change the value of the baby. The baby didn't ask to be conceived that way. And I think we miss out on what God can do within the suffering. We want quick fixes and we want things to just like go away. An abortion is not going to make the rape go away. It's not going to make the memories go away. And sometimes, and we know God can make something so beautiful come out of suffering. And I think we try to play God and say, do away with the baby, when you never know, the baby could be the very thing that brings healing out of that suffering. And I've seen it through people who have chosen life, even in the most horrific circumstances.
You have no.
And we don't know the future. We don't know what's ahead, and we think we do, and we think, but that's where God shines the most, when we don't know what to do and we don't see how beauty could come out of it. And now I look at my friends' lives and they're amazing, and I'm so glad that they're alive, even though they were conceived in horrific ways. My one friend who was raped, um, she was literally left for dead.
Wow.
Like, he brutally beat her and raped her.
Wow.
And she was a married woman. She was on a business trip. She was a married woman. And it was her husband who said, "We're going to love this baby."
Wow.
And she said, and when I look at when I look at my child, I don't see my rapist.
Uh huh.
I see God's hand,
I mean, that's amazing.
bringing,
It's
I
somebody.
mean, I can't, there's nothing I could say
Somebody
about
can do
that. I
something like
mean,
that is amazing.
Yeah.
It's
I
that
amazing.
is,
It's
only
amazing.
God could do that.
Yes, only the love of God in your life can do something like that. It's amazing,
Yeah.
amazing, amazing.
So, what was I say? Tony, I wanted to
Yeah,
ask
go
you
ahead.
something as well. And, we were talking a lot about preventive measures, right? You're talking about things like
Yes.
counseling for women,
Mhm.
having those resources available, having
Yeah.
housing for them, right? I know
Mhm.
something you work within a lot is healthy relationships, and
Yes.
I know that has a little bit to do with your own testimony, right? If I
Mhm.
recall correctly, can you explain
Right.
that work that you do in healthy relationships?
Yeah. You don't want girls and guys to be in the situation. You have to get to the preventative side of going back to the value of sex and relationships. And so I speak on healthy relationships in the sense of why it makes sense to save sex for marriage. And I know that's not popular in our culture at all, but I explain it in a way that's saying you're more valuable. Like, our culture has degraded sex, and in the process has degraded you, saying you can have sex with whoever you want to, whenever you want to. It's no big deal.
Hmm.
It is a big deal when you find yourself with someone else, and then they go on and just hook up with somebody else. That's
Yeah.
not how relationships are supposed to work. And in our culture, that seems like it's normal.
Yeah.
But when I'm speaking to high school kids and I'm telling them the purpose of sex and the purpose of waiting, there's like a pin drop, because they're not hearing this all the time and they want to hear it. They want to be told, I don't have to hook up with someone to feel loved and wanted. And the guys are being pressured, saying, if you want to be a real man, this is who you need to get with, this is what you need. And there's all this pressure on them, and everything they turn on TV, everything, all the music they're listening to, it's
Yeah.
all based around feelings. And I'm trying to explain to them, feelings change. Truth does not. And the truth is, if you want to get married someday, you want to have a healthy relationship, it starts with the actions you're making right now. How do you treat one another in a relationship? Hold a higher standard for yourself. And when you hold higher standards, you will meet people who have high standards too. Now, I do explain, like, I didn't wait for marriage. I didn't know that was like, no one, it's not like my parents sat me down, and that's another thing. Parents don't talk about it.
Yeah.
So you're looking at your friends and letting your friends dictate how you're supposed to be doing all this. And it wasn't until I became a believer that I began to see my worth and realizing I don't need to give myself away in order to have momentary pleasure, to feel good.
Yeah.
And so I didn't get married for over 8 years, and I did not have sex until I was married. And what I was saying to them, I've been on both sides. I've been on the side where I was just giving myself away, and then was on the side where I waited. And my husband now, waiting made sex more powerful and more special because what we were saying to each other is, because we're not married, I'm not taking something from you that doesn't belong to me in the first place.
Okay.
Because if I'm not going to marry you, you don't, your body does not belong to me. And that made me feel more loved, special, and wanted than any momentary pleasure
That's
could
right.
be. And I just think we've degraded our teenagers so much by not saying you're worth more than just giving yourself away, and marriage is worth it. And because and I say the purpose of waiting is not because it's easy. If it was easy, everybody would be waiting, you know.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely right.
And
You mentioned something about you mentioned something about the youth and how you guys dealing with the
hmm
youth, and I really want
yeah,
to tell you this before I forget. Listen, we have a
yeah,
big space right here, uh, and we have a warehouse full of stuff for babies, and
yeah,
we do this on a
hmm
bi-weekly basis. We get
right.
food to the community because we have a food pantry. uh, Listen, I want to let you know that we have all this space here available. If you want to do a rally, a powwow, something that we can get all these youth together and we can do something out there, you are very welcome to do that because I like what
Oh,
you're doing.
thank you so
I
much.
really love what you're doing. And when it comes to the youth community, that is right there is my specialty.
hmm
I always tell
Well,
everybody,
it's the
I'm
youth
I'm
that'll
not
change the
40, I'm
culture.
20.
Yeah, definitely.
Yes,
hmm
yes,
Yeah. Yeah, because it starts with them. They're watching what we're doing.
yeah,
And they're so moldable right now. And I'm just really trying to teach my own kids how to think for themselves, to have critical thinking skills and not just believe something just because it's on the internet or because someone says this. How do you know that's true? Where are they getting their information from?
that's
And I
right.
think that has to be taught in the
Yes,
home
yes,
first.
Yeah.
yes,
So
yes,
being intentional about that. But what I was going to say was, one of the most powerful things I realized about waiting for marriage is on your wedding day, your lives come together
uh-huh.
as one. So everything you've done in your past, long before you even met this person, and everything you're going to do in your future automatically affect each other now. And the beautiful thing about waiting is on your wedding day, you become one with your lives. And then that night, everyone goes home because you go on your honeymoon. And then you bring your bodies together to be one.
Yeah,
But sex is powerful in that moment. It's because it's an expression of what you just did with your lives a couple of hours ago. You brought your lives together to be one. Now, sex is that expression. And the only thing you're wearing is your wedding rings, which is a symbol that you're protected not by a contraceptive, but by a lifelong commitment. And that is powerful because what people are doing now is they're taking sex outside of the context of marriage. They're marrying their bodies, but without their lives. Then, because there's no real commitment, you have the freedom to just leave. And that's why so many people are heartbroken because they're being told sex is no big deal, and it is. And
it,
the youth are definitely being told that. So,
Yeah.
amazing, 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 amazing. What I can say, I think we're gonna need a second part.
yeah, I'm starting to hear my kids a little bit.
Yeah.
They'll bum rush in here.
Yeah, we are going to do actually we have to come back, get in tune, give the people the information that they need. I know this is
Mhm.
constantly changing. The numbers, statistics, and everything else is constantly changing,
Yeah.
and we need
hmm
to keep our people informed, awake with the information so they'll know.
Yeah. Yeah.
I really love what you do, Tony. I commend you for that because it's
Thank you.
amazing. People out there sometimes, you know, nowadays, people wants to be more likable than being secure and sure of who
Yeah.
you are and what's your belief. And people will
hmm
sacrifice who you are and your
Yeah.
belief because I want people to like me. You understand? And
Right.
and and, and
hmm
no, 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 no.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is
I obviously don't care about that. I get a
that's
lot
right.
of hate stuff on my social media.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, I mean, you already know me. You already know. I don't. stay quiet. I will say what I
Yeah.
have to say. Yeah, I think, there's nothing wrong with us saying what we have to say about our ideology, our belief. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? My
Yeah.
faith. There's nothing wrong with that. If you don't like it, well, I'm
Hmm.
sorry.
More so, I just hope people are, encouraged, by the work that you do to go out there and actually do work. You talked a little bit about how people will say, well, oh, people that are pro-life only care about the life in the womb, and that's something you do
Hmm.
hear a lot, unfortunately, because
Yeah.
a lot of the work
Hmm.
isn't publicized, and so I hope people are
Right.
encouraged to, go volunteer at those pregnancy centers. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Donate material if you have it, or monetary donations. I'm sure they can use it as a nonprofit organization. I know
Right.
that we
Hmm.
definitely appreciate those. So I know they would
Yeah.
as well. Sorry about that. And you know what I mean. I hope people are just really encouraged to like be proactive in pro life work. You know what I mean. If this is something that
Yeah.
you're passionate about, and you're with your thumbs and you're on Facebook and Twitter and you're
Yeah.
you know what I
Be
mean. Go
about
out
it.
there.
Just speak about it. Yeah.
Get up and and help the movement, because I know you guys probably need hands and feet and mouths just as much as
Hmm.
we do here in the work
Yep.
that we're doing. So
Yeah.
listen, y'all. Listen to Tony, okay?
Tony, it's been
Thank
great
you.
having you here with us, and just
Thank you.
just yeah, have this conversation, and bring this information to the people. Like I said before, and what like I said before, I think we should get together and get the
Yeah.
summertime really good. Do a powwow, do something. Listen, we are
Yeah.
open for that.
I do
You
a
know,
presentation on saving sex for marriage. So if you got youth together where I could do the presentation for them, I
well,
would
that's
love to do that.
okay, perfect. That will be absolutely good.
Yeah.
Absolutely
Yeah.
good. Absolutely fine. Do
Yeah.
you have Adriana?
Anything, meet anything to say? No,
Yes.
I'm actually good. If you guys can see below, we're gonna have, we have here all of Tony's social medias linked. You can go follow her on all her social media
Sh-
platforms. Go to her website, find out more information, book her for an event. I don't know, whatever you feel like doing.
Share, like, if you're a person who are thinking of your the same way Tony, Carlos, Adriana, and many others out there are thinking the same way. Listen, guys, share and like. You know what I mean? Stop paying
Hmm.
attention to what other people say in your page. Share and like what
Hmm.
it's really worth it to share. Sometimes we share jokes and this and that. Come on, this is what you need to
Yeah.
be sharing. This is what people need to be seeing in your pages. Something that is productive, something that it's helping
Hmm.
our community to become a better community. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
that's what it's all about. So thank you so much for everything that you do, Tony. Amazing,
Thank you.
amazing job again. Amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
All right.
Yeah, thank you. With this, we're gonna let you go, guys. Time is well, you know how they say it in
Of the
Spanish.
essence.
Yeah, no, no. In Spanish they say tiempo es oro. El tiempo es oro.
Time
Time
is
is
gold.
gold. Yeah, that's the one. That's the one that everybody needs. More time. But it's
Yeah.
been an amazing talk with you. Amazing chat with you, Tony. Like I said before, second part it's coming. I'm not even asking her. I'm like, I need you. There's something that
I'd
you
love
want
to
to
come
say to our
back.
viewers, to our listeners.
What I would like to say?
Yeah, this if there's something that you.
Oh, okay. I always say stand for something or you'll fall for anything.
Oh, I like
So
that
we only
one.
have
I like that one. So
so
thank you
it's
guys.
worth it. It's
Yeah,
worth it
it
to
is.
stand on the truth regardless of the pushback. And we need more voices speaking truth in this culture right now. So encourage
Amen.
you all to do that.
That's right. That's right. Thank you guys. Stay strong, stay focused. Above all, stay under the umbrella of grace that God provide for us, our children. All right. So stay strong, baby. See you guys.